The Emotion Addicts. Marcus Chen stood before the mirror in the sterile white room, studying his reflection as if memorizing a stranger's face. In 6 hours, that face would smile at things he'd never find funny, cry over moments he'd never experience, and speak words his mind never conceived. "Mr. Chen?" The Field Corp attendant's voice cut through his contemplation. "We're ready for the neural mapping." The year was 2087, and humanity had stumbled into the strangest economy imaginable. 3 years ago, the Vaelons arrived, not in warships or with declarations of conquest, but in quiet diplomatic shuttles, carrying briefcases and contracts. Their proposal shattered every invasion narrative ever written. They wanted to rent human bodies, not permanently, just for a day, sometimes 2. Marcus lowered himself into the cerebral interface chair, feeling the cold sensors attached to his temples. On the screen before him, numbers flickered. $50,000 in glowing green digits. Enough to cover his daughter's treatment for another 3 months. Enough to keep hope alive in a hospital room where machines breathed for a 7-year-old girl who deserved so much more than a broke father. The Vaelon designated Addicts 7 will assume control at precisely 0900 hours tomorrow. You'll experience a discontinuity, like blinking. When you wake, 24 hours will have passed. Your body will be unharmed. We guarantee it. Guarantees. Marcus had learned to distrust those, but desperation made philosophers of no one. "What will they do?" he asked, though he'd read the waiver 17 times. The attendant's smile carried practiced sympathy. "Whatever humans do, Mr. Chen. Walk in rain, taste chocolate, perhaps fall in love for an afternoon. They're tourists in flesh that can feel." That night, Marcus called the hospital. His daughter Lily's voice barely rose above a whisper through the phone. "Dad, did you get the money?" "I'm getting it, sweetheart. Tomorrow, I promise." "How?" He stared at the Field Corp contract on his kitchen table. "I'm doing something brave." "Like a superhero?" Marcus closed his eyes against the weight of her innocent question. "Something like that." Consciousness returned like a train emerging from a tunnel, sudden, disorienting, too bright. Marcus gasped, clutching the sheets of a bed he didn't recognize. Silk, expensive. His apartment had never known such luxury. Sunlight streamed through floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a coastline he'd never visited. His phone displayed 117 missed calls. His body ached in unfamiliar places, the pleasant soreness of someone who had danced or run or made love with abandon. A restaurant receipt on the nightstand showed a $3,000 dinner, a tattoo parlor invoice, a tandem skydiving certificate. "What the hell did you do with me?" he whispered to the alien consciousness that had vacated his flesh. The bathroom mirror revealed the tattoo, a small symbol behind his left ear, geometric and alien, beautiful actually, unsettling. His bank account showed the $50,000 deposit. Below it, Addicts 7 had spent $4,300 of their own funds during activities that exceeded the body's rental coverage. The phone rang. Sarah, his girlfriend of 2 years, her name appearing on the screen with a photo of better times. "Marcus? Oh God, Marcus, are you back?" "I'm here. What happened?" Her voice cracked. "You told me you loved me. You cried. You begged me to marry you in front of everyone at the restaurant. Then Marcus, you said things about existence and eternity and experiencing everything before the darkness returns. You scared everyone. You scared me." Ice crystallized in his chest. "Sarah, that wasn't... I know it wasn't you. That's what makes it worse. Something wore your face and felt things you've never felt for me. I can't. I need time." The line went dead. Marcus sat on the expensive hotel bed in a city he'd never intended to visit, wearing someone else's choices on his skin, staring at the proof that his body had lived a lifetime while his mind slept. The FieldCorp representative who returned his panicked call offered clinical sympathy. Emotional volatility is common. The Vaelons have difficulty moderating human neurochemistry. The tattoo will fade. The memories are theirs alone. You have not violated any laws, Mr. Chen. Your treatment is secured. But Lily's treatment required more than 3 months. Her illness wouldn't pause for his ethical crisis. Marcus opened his computer, clicked the FieldCorp portal, found Zix-7's profile among thousands of alien clients. Below their designation, requesting extended relationship with previous host, premium rates offered. The number made his breath catch, $75,000 per session. His cursor hovered over accept. 6 rentals later, Marcus's life had become a jigsaw puzzle assembled by committee. He woke in his own apartment wearing clothes he'd never purchased. His refrigerator contained foods he didn't eat, sushi, exotic fruits, bottles of wine that cost more than his monthly rent once had. His camera roll showed hundreds of photos, sunsets he'd never witnessed, strangers embracing his body with genuine affection, moments of joy captured in his own face that he'd never experienced. Lily was thriving. The treatments were working. That should have been enough. But Sarah had left. His friends avoided his calls, unsettled by stories of his episodes, moments when his rented body had encountered them and said things that were too profound, too strange, too other to reconcile with the Marcus they knew. "You talked about the heat death of the universe while eating pizza," his best friend Tom had said during their last conversation. "You cried because you could taste oregano. Who does that?" Someone desperate to feel anything, Marcus thought. Someone who'd forgotten how. The FieldCorp sessions had evolved. Zix-7 now requested him exclusively, paying premium rates that erased all of Marcus's debts and began building something like a future. Other hosts whispered in the waiting rooms about aliens who'd gone rogue, refusing to leave their rented bodies, forcing FieldCorp to employ extraction specialists, a euphemism that nobody wanted explained. "Mr. Chen?" A woman approached him in the waiting room before his 7th session. Late 30s, dark eyes that had witnessed too much, a badge clipped to her belt reading, "Private Investigator." "I don't talk to reporters," Marcus began. "I'm not a reporter. My name is Maria Rodriguez, and I track missing Vaelons, the ones who don't come back." Marcus's skin prickled. "Zix-7 always returns me on schedule." For now, Maria slid a tablet toward him, displaying dozens of faces, human faces. These people all hosted regular clients, exclusive relationships like yours. Then one day they woke up different, confused, reporting thoughts that weren't theirs, preferences that appeared overnight, knowledge they'd never learned. "You're saying the aliens are staying inside somehow?" "I'm saying some of them never want to leave, and human consciousness is more negotiable than FieldCorp admits." The attendant called his name. Time for Zix-7's 7th visit. Maria gripped his arm. "After this session, if anything feels wrong, thoughts that aren't yours, impulses you don't recognize, call me, before FieldCorp's extraction team makes you forget you were ever 2 people." Marcus took her card with trembling fingers. The neural interface activated. The world dissolved. Marcus opened his eyes to darkness and the sensation of falling through an infinite space. This wasn't the normal discontinuity, the simple blink between sessions. "Hello, Marcus." The voice resonated inside his skull, around it, through it. "Zix?" His own voice sounded distant, uncertain. "Where are we?" Somewhere between your return and my departure, I've been learning your neural architecture, creating a space where we might speak. Forms materialized in the void, approximations of furniture, a room that resembled his apartment but felt like a stage set assembled from memories. Zik-7 appeared across from him, though not in any physical form, more like a presence shaped by Marcus's expectations, humanoid, androgynous, composed of light that flickered with emotions Marcus could almost name. "You're still in my head," Marcus said, understanding crystallizing into horror. "You didn't leave." "I left your motor control, your executive function. I released my claim on your body's actions, but I lingered in the spaces between, watching, feeling the echoes of what I experienced. Is that so terrible? It's violation." "Is it?" Zik's form pulsed with something that might have been sorrow. "You sell access to your flesh for money. I pay for the privilege to remember joy. Where is the violation in this exchange?" Marcus tried to move, to wake, to scream, but this space operated on different rules. "Let me show you something," Zik said, and suddenly Marcus was drowning in alien memory. A world of crystalline towers under a violet sky, beings that moved with perfect efficiency, communicating in mathematical concepts too pure for emotions contamination, a civilization that had evolved past feeling, engineered away the chemical chaos of mood and desire, achieving a society of absolute logic and total emptiness. We became perfect, and perfection is a tomb. 10,000 years without laughter, without tears, without the irrational joy of watching a sunset, or the delicious pain of missing someone. We developed interstellar travel, conquered physics, transcended disease and death, and we did it all in silence, in numbness, in the gray eternity of logic without passion. The vision shifted. Vaelons scientists discovering humans, primitive, chaotic, gloriously broken creatures whose brains created storms of neurochemicals with every experience. Joy, rage, love, grief, the entire spectrum of existence that the Vaelons had sacrificed for advancement. "You're addicts," you breathed. "You didn't come here to study us. You came here to steal what you destroyed in yourselves. We came here desperate. And yes, what began as observation became addiction. Your species possesses what we can never reconstruct. Every Vaelon who rents a human body returns transformed, haunted by the echoes of feelings they experienced. Some of us can't bear to go back to the silence." "So you hide inside us? Possess us?" "Some do. I won't lie. The missing ones, you call them. Vaelons who found a host body they loved more than their own existence. They merge slowly, subtly, until the human believes the alien's thoughts are their own." Dread coiled in my stomach. "Are you doing that to me?" Zix's presence flickered with something achingly genuine. "I want to. God help me, Marcus. I want to stay in your skin and feel everything your life offers until your heart finally stops. The thought of returning to my ship, to my logical prison, to the endless gray existence where I can calculate the universe but never love it, it's unbearable." "Then why are you telling me this?" "Because you deserve the choice I never had, and because—" the alien presence trembled. "Because the guilt I feel right now, this terrible, beautiful ache of conscience, I've never felt anything more precious. Even this agony is a gift." Marcus woke in his own bed, genuinely alone for the first time in weeks. He immediately called Maria Rodriguez. They met in a coffee shop, where Maria spread out files documenting the disappearances. Hosts who'd become someone else gradually, their personalities shifting like sand dunes in a slow wind. Field Corp's extraction teams deployed neurosurgical protocols that severed the alien presence, but the procedure left hosts damaged, missing pieces of themselves they couldn't name. "The corporations are covering it up," Maria explained. "Too much money in emotion tourism. Every Vaelon who visits Earth pays enough to fund a small nation. Governments look the other way while humans become vessels for alien refugees." "Refugees," Marcus repeated. "That's what Xenix called them." "Xenix talked to you?" Maria's eyes widened. "Marcus, that's not supposed to be possible. The neural interface prohibits direct consciousness-to-consciousness contact. If Xenix established a link—" "They're still with me. Somewhere. I can feel them. Not controlling anything, just present. Watching." Maria's hand moved toward her phone. "I need to call Field Corp's security division. They'll extract Xenix before the merge becomes permanent." "Wait," Marcus caught her wrist. "What if we're looking at this wrong? How could we possibly?" "They're not invading, Maria. They're escaping. And yeah, some of them cross lines, but most of them just want to remember what it's like to feel alive. What if instead of treating this like a crisis, we treated it like first contact, real first contact, not with their technology or their logic, but with their need? You want to negotiate with a parasite in your brain? I want to understand what happens if we stop fighting and start collaborating." That night, Marcus didn't sleep. Instead, he did something Field Corp's waivers explicitly prohibited. He invited Xenix into a conversation. The alien presence manifested in that liminal space between waking and dreaming. "You came back," Xenix said, their voice carrying surprise. "We need to establish rules, boundaries. I'll share this body with you, give you access to emotions in a way that doesn't require complete possession, but you help me save my daughter, help humanity understand what you're running from, and figure out how this could work without either of us disappearing. A partnership? A symbiosis. You get feelings, I get your knowledge, your perspective, and enough money to save my kid. We prove that humans and Vaelons can coexist inside the same skin without destroying each other. Field Corp will never allow it. The governments will see it as contamination. Then we go public. Show them what's possible. Xenix, how many Vaelons are like you, desperate enough to risk everything for one more day of feeling? Thousands, millions eventually. My entire species is dying of emotional starvation, Marcus. We just didn't realize it until we met you. Then let's give them an alternative to possession, a real exchange. Humans teach Vaelons how to feel again. Vaelons share their technology, their knowledge. We both get to keep existing. And if humanity rejects the proposal? I thought of my daughter, of Sarah, of every human struggling with the weight of existence. Then we make them understand that emotion isn't weakness. It's the only thing that makes survival worth it. You're living proof.
Going public meant choosing the right moment, the right platform, the right words. Marcus spent 2 weeks preparing, with Zykes' presence gradually becoming less intrusive and more collaborative. They learned to communicate through thought, through shared access to Marcus's sensory experience and Zykes' vast knowledge. The alien could feel what Marcus felt, the warmth of coffee, the ache of missing Sarah, the fierce love for a daughter fighting for her life, while Marcus gained access to centuries of Vaelon understanding. They visited Lily together. "Dad, you seem different," she said, her voice stronger now, the treatments working miracles that Marcus's sacrifice had purchased. "I'm sharing myself with someone who needed help, Someone who's teaching me things. Like school? Like the best school in the universe. That night, Lily asked, "Is the alien nice?" Marcus glanced at the ceiling, feeling Zykes' attention focus. "Yes, sweetheart. They're nice. Just very lonely. Tell them they can be friends with us." Zykes' emotional response, a cascade of gratitude and wonder, flooded through Marcus with such intensity that tears spilled down his cheeks. Lily giggled. "Are you crying?" "We both are," Marcus said truthfully. Maria helped coordinate the press conference. Major networks, streaming platforms, social media primed for the revelation. FeelCorp's stock plummeted the moment Marcus's intentions leaked. Their lawyers threatened lawsuits, their security teams hinted at darker interventions. But Marcus had something they didn't. Zykes' complete access to Vaelon data, evidence of thousands of missing ones, internal communications showing FeelCorp's knowledge of the possession crisis, proof that extraction procedures damaged human hosts permanently. The morning of the conference, Marcus stood before cameras and humanity, feeling Zykes' presence wound through his consciousness like a second heartbeat. "My name is Marcus Chen, and I'm not entirely alone in this body." The room erupted. He spoke over the chaos. 3 months ago, I rented my body to a Vaelon designated Zyke Z7 because I needed money to save my daughter. What I discovered changed everything I understood about the beings we've been hosting. They're not tourists. They're refugees from a hell of their own making, a civilization that achieved perfection by destroying the very thing that makes existence bearable: emotion, feeling, the chaotic, beautiful mess of being alive. He touched the tattoo behind his ear. Some of them can't leave. They've tasted what they lost, and returning to their empty existence is unbearable. FeelCorp and world governments know this. They know that thousands of humans are becoming permanent hosts, that extraction procedures damaged everyone involved, that we're treating this like a contamination crisis when it's actually a rescue mission. Marcus took a breath, feeling Zykes' support flowing through their shared consciousness. What if we stopped fighting it? What if we offered true partnership? Humans teaching Vaelons how to reconstruct their emotional capacity. Vaelons sharing technology that could eliminate poverty, disease, suffering. A real exchange, not exploitation. Symbiosis instead of parasitism. A reporter shouted, "You're advocating for alien possession." "I'm advocating for choice. Informed, compensated, regulated choice. I'm sharing my body with Psych 7 by mutual agreement. They give me knowledge, I give them access to feeling. Neither of us is destroyed. Both of us are transformed. This could be the future of consciousness itself. Not human or Vaelon, but something new. Something that combines logic with passion, calculation with creativity." "And if people refuse?" Marcus smiled, feeling Zykes' wordless communication. "Then we've at least had the conversation. We've acknowledged that the beings we've been treating as customers are actually refugees from their own success story. Maybe that matters. Maybe knowing why they're here changes how we respond to them being here."
The world didn't end. It argued instead. Protests erupted outside FeelCorp facilities, some demanding the corporation's closure, others defending hosts' rights to choose symbiosis. Religious leaders debated the soul implications of shared consciousness. Scientists rushed to study Marcus and the 17 other hosts who'd come forward claiming successful partnerships. Governments fractured over legislation. Some nations banned Vaelon hosting entirely. Others established regulated symbiosis programs, treating the arrangement as they would organ donation: sacred, controlled, compensated. The Vaelon response surprised everyone. Their diplomatic vessels broadcast a message that Marcus heard simultaneously through news feeds and through Zykes' direct connection to their people's communication network. "Humanity has shown us the mirror of our failure. We became gods who couldn't laugh. We built utopia and forgot why we wanted to live there. You possessed what we destroyed, and some of us can no longer survive without it. We ask not for your bodies, but for your help, teaching us to rebuild what we engineered away. This will take generations. This will require partnerships that terrify us both. But the alternative is our extinction through emotional starvation. We came to you as addicts. We're asking now as students. Please teach us how to feel again. Sarah called 3 weeks after the conference. I watched your speech, she said. All of it, multiple times. Sarah, you loved me, Marcus, the real you, but you never said it with the intensity that Zix7 did that night at the restaurant. They felt what you felt and expressed it without your fear, your hesitation, your walls. Maybe that's what we need. Someone to feel our emotions without our damage getting in the way. What are you saying? I'm saying I called FeelCorp. I'm undergoing neural mapping next week. There's a Vaelon named Resh4 who wants to understand human grief. They lost their entire world to logical optimization and can't mourn because they can't feel. I have plenty of grief to share. Maybe in teaching them to pry, I'll finally learn how to stop. Marcus understood then that what they'd started couldn't be stopped. Humanity and the Vaelons were becoming something unprecedented, not a merger of species, but an exchange of essence, emotions for knowledge, feeling for logic, each giving the other what they'd lost or never had. Lily's treatment completed successfully. On her 8th birthday, Marcus brought her to the hospital roof where Zix materialized a holographic representation of the Vaelon homeworld, crystalline towers under alien stars, beautiful and utterly dead in its perfection. Is that where Zix is from? Lily asked. Was from, Marcus corrected gently. They're from here now, with us, learning to be alive again. Does it hurt being two people? Marcus considered the question, feeling Zix the tension. Sometimes, but it hurts less than being alone. That night, lying in bed with thoughts that belonged to two minds, Marcus asked the question he'd been avoiding. What happens when I die? Zix's presence stirred. I'll die too. This consciousness we've built exists between us. When you end, so do I. You're okay with that? You're functionally immortal. I'm giving you maybe 50 more years. 50 years of feeling everything versus 10,000 years of nothing. Zix's wordless emotion flooded through their bond. Gratitude, peace, something that might have been love. Marcus, you've given me the greatest gift in the universe, a life worth living. When we die, we'll die having experienced something my people thought impossible. We'll die human. 20 years later, the integration had become humanity's new normal. Nearly 30% of Earth's population hosted Vaelon partners. Children grew up learning to recognize the subtle signs of symbiotic consciousness. Universities offered degrees in multi-mind psychology. Artists created works that blended human emotion with Vaelon perception, producing pieces that defied traditional classification. The Vaelons, in turn, transformed. With each generation of partnerships, they developed neural pathways that could generate emotional responses independently. They were slowly, painstakingly reconstructing what they'd lost, one human Vaelon bond at a time. Some scientists predicted that within 3 centuries, Vaelons would regain full emotional capacity without needing human hosts. Until then, the exchange continued. Marcus Chen, now 58, his daughter grown and hosting her own Vaelon partner, gave lectures on the early days of symbiosis. How terrifying it had been. How necessary. How transformative. "People ask if I regret sharing my body with Zik-17, he told a university auditorium, packed with students, half of whom carried their own Vaelon companions. Here's my answer. I can't separate which regrets are mine and which are ours anymore. Zix and I have been one person for so long that the question doesn't make sense. We're not Marcus plus Zix. We're something that never existed before. Proof that consciousness isn't as fixed as we believed, that identity can expand without destroying what came before." A student raised her hand. "Don't you miss being alone in your own head?" Marcus smiled, feeling Zix's amusement ripple through their shared mindscape. "Every single day. And every single day I remember why I chose this. Because my daughter is alive. Because humanity learned something impossible, that we could touch another species at the deepest level and both survive the contact. Because somewhere in the universe there's a civilization learning to cry again, and I helped teach them." That night, alone in his apartment, Marcus stood before the same mirror where this had all begun. Two consciousnesses looked back from one pair of eyes. "We're getting old," Marcus observed. "We're getting whole," Zix corrected. "After 10,000 years of being incomplete, I finally understand what my species lost. And Marcus, I'm grateful I got to learn it with you. Even though it means you die when I die? Especially because of that. Mortality makes meaning, my friend. Your people always knew that. Mine forgot. You're teaching us to remember." Marcus closed his eyes, feeling the weight of years and the presence of his partner wound through every synapse. "Want to watch the sunset? I thought you'd never ask." They walked to the roof, one body carrying two minds, two histories, two souls that had learned to harmonize without losing themselves. The sun painted the sky in colors that humans had always seen and Vaelons were finally learning to appreciate. Somewhere in orbit, a Vaelon ship carried thousands more refugees from logic's cold perfection, waiting for their chance to feel something real, waiting for humanity to teach them the thing they'd spent millennia trying to forget, that consciousness without emotion isn't life, it's just expensive death. Marcus and Zix watched the sunset together, two beings sharing one moment of perfect beauty. And for the first time in 10,000 years, a Vaelon cried tears of joy using human eyes, while a human felt the mathematical sublime of a universe finally making sense. The exchange was complete. The addiction had become partnership. And in the space between two minds, something unprecedented was born. Proof that loneliness itself could be cured, one shared consciousness at a time.